live. Wait just a sec. Hey, hi guys. All right. I'm coming on as a sign of life, so my dad doesn't think I got fired off Substack. I have the plague. I've been nice and horizontal all week. I get weird dreams when you're sick. My dreams have been incredibly stressful. Lots of missing passports and trying to find parking in major cities, and I was driving a Volvo at one point. Yeah, I am sick. Oh, hi, Janice from Fort Benton. Fort Benton. No, I don't have COVID, thankfully. Just the normal plague. Um, yeah. I'm not very good at taking medicine, so just, hanging out. I will be live tomorrow some point with Waj and I think Zev. We're gonna chat, so hopefully I'll be normal. But I just wanted to check in. I am getting messages from my father thinking I got fired. I don't know if Substack can fire you. And just let you guys know what I've been working on, even though I'm sick, because, scrolling doesn't take a whole lot of, vertical work, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, hi guys. Hi everybody. Yeah, they can ban you. I haven't been banned by Substack yet. Okay. So lucky for me, there's a new season of Bridgerton, which I didn't realize. So who knows when it came out, but I realized it this week while I've been sick. So I've been watching Bridgerton as well. I posted something because I've been called multiple times. Been called the Epstein girl. I went to the State of the Swamp, and people were like, the people who are meeting me for the first time. Yeah, no, I'm not drinking cough syrup. People who are meeting me for the first time are like, "Oh, it's the Epstein girl," and I was like, "Ah, I don't know if I want to be called that. Feels not right." But I have been called. What is it? Mrs. Wait, Lady. Not Featherington. Oh, and now I've forgotten. But the secret writer from Bridgerton. If Dana's on here, she can remind me what her name is. I don't know why I can't think of it. Anywho, so I have been working actually on the Michael Wolff emails. If Lady Whistledown, thank you. I've been working on the Michael Wolff emails. And way back when I transcribed what we had before, which was released in November. It was much less, obviously, much less of everything. Now, if you zero in on one player, you get a lot. And so behind the scenes, I've actually been talking with people who I met while working on the Woody Allen and Mia Farrow documentary for HBO years ago, which I had the honor of working on with them very quietly as a fly on the wall. And I am seeing so much in the conversations with Michael Wolff and Epstein that have to do with the story of Dylan Farrow, which at some point, because even the people who support Dylan, there's a lot of misinformation. So at some point, I'll probably do a write-up on that and I'll probably talk about that. Because a lot of people were like, oh, he married his daughter. He was never married to Woody Allen was never married to Mia Farrow, and Soon-Yi was never his daughter. But that aside, that's where the legitimacy ends. It's a really, really awful story that was a really great example of how money and power can steer the narrative away from a 7-year-old child's story of abuse that never changed over 30 years, has never changed, versus somebody who wields power over industry. So anyway, that being said, I've been chatting with some of the folks who are connected with them. I've been invited to go up to Yale and help, speak at a class at Yale, which is new and interesting and exciting for me and a little nerve-wracking, but pretty great. But in that, I've been finding a lot of emails that are making me ask new questions. Because whereas before, I had a handful of emails, I had enough emails to write my conjecture, my thoughts and opinions on Michael Wolff and the inappropriateness of the relationship he had with Epstein. Now I have 1,800 pages of emails between the two of them. And most of them, like most of the emails that I have so far, I didn't have before. And it's really, really uncomfortable because, thinking back to, I've followed Michael Wolff for years, and I've, as a small business transcription person, I really wanted to transcribe those interviews, and I've tried to get in contact with him about it, months and months and months ago. I bought his books, I've supported him. I had a paid subscription at some point. And to see what was going on the whole time without, I don't think, any of our knowledge was pretty disappointing, to say the least, but kind of shocking. Like I've had my druthers. Obviously, I've written about this before, but now I'm starting to see like the machine behind their relationship. And what it makes me worry about, the information that we don't have, is in order to get what he wanted from Epstein and tell this Epstein story and have this like deluge, that's the right word, right? Of interviews coming out from like the Daily Beast and probably another book in the works. And then what was his book? It's called Too Famous, that had a whole section on Epstein. In order to do that and talk about what a bad guy Epstein was, he became incredibly close to Epstein. And, there's no denying that they were very close. Like they were friends. To the point where Wolff made it his mission, like Steve Bannon, to fix Epstein's image and use his position in journalism to silence stories, to crush reputations, and otherwise pave the way for Epstein to have like a break back into the system as this philanthropist, good guy. And so you see a lot of that. I found a lot of emails where he's like, this person's coming out with the story. Do you want me to crush it? And kind of this weird simpering thing that Wolff did where he was trying to get close to people like Woody Allen. Dinners all the time with Allen and Bannon and all these people who were like, supposedly Steve Bannon like lost his job at Breitbart because of the things that Michael Wolff wrote, but Michael Wolff was friends with him. They were like hanging out. So there's just stuff that we knew and then stuff that we didn't know that was going on behind the scenes. And that was like 80% of the stuff was the behind the scenes stuff. So he was very close with Epstein. He was asking him all the time, what story should I write? How will this affect this person? Can this fix Woody Allen if I write another story against Dylan, who was a 7-year-old child who was abused legitimately and proven by the state police? And they did not go through with the court case because they wanted her to have a normal life. And if they went through with it, she would have to speak on the stand, and they didn't want a child to have to do that in front of the father who abused her. But they had an open and shut case about Woody Allen. And I say this as somebody who knows that case front and back and also saw all the stuff that was off the record that is not public domain. He abused her. But Michael Wolff and Epstein wanted to steamroll Ronan Farrow, Mia, and bring back Woody's reputation. There was just all this like cavorting with each other that was pretty nasty and just makes me very angry. But then also like this other weird stuff, like that article. Do you guys remember a couple months ago, there was a photographer named Christopher Anderson who said he was supposed to do the photography for an article for New York Magazine. And, he was paid, he took the pictures, and then the article never happened. And years later, he discovered that he still had the pictures on his hard drive, which he didn't think he did because Epstein told him, you can't do anything with these. These are my pictures. I paid you. found all the pictures, and it was the pictures of like the letters on his desk and the stuffed poodle and all this stuff. Anyway, all of a sudden we have all these interviews behind the scenes that show the people at New York Magazine are going, hold on, where is Epstein? Why is he not doing the story? He's ghosting us. We already have the story ready to go. We need to publish. Michael Wolff, can you get a hold of him? And he's like, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know the guy. Blah, blah, blah. And he sends the entire email thread to Epstein. And he and Epstein were talking the whole time. And he was deciding with Epstein whether that story was published or not. Like, he was on the side of Epstein and not on the side of journalism. There was that. There was James Patterson's book. He was trying to get a manuscript of it ahead of time before it was published, the book about Epstein. Michael Wolff was. And they said, fine, but you have to sign an NDA. And he goes, great, I'll sign an NDA. Having this long conversation with the publisher, sent the whole thread to Epstein. Epstein knew everything because of Michael Wolff. So my concern was, having seen all this, is that Michael Wolff has a similar relationship with Donald Trump. He acts as this guy who's supposed to be like telling the backstory and outing Donald Trump and doing all this stuff, getting sued by Melania, only not, raising $800,000 on GoFundMe from citizens who don't have millions of dollars. Guess what? Michael Wolff does. And it made me think, this whole time we thought that he was kind of out to out Epstein and out the story of Epstein and be on the good side of history, and he totally was not. And so how do we know what relationship he had with Trump? And it made me think further. He's got these 100 hours of interviews that he has not made public, because I think they would not only condemn Epstein, but they would condemn him in some of the conversations. And he doesn't want to edit all that out. But the one thing that Epstein was willing to talk about was what he knew on Trump. And if you have 100 hours of interviews from Epstein, there's guaranteed to be information about Donald Trump in those interviews. And Michael Wolff's not releasing it. And it is my opinion. This is not based on evidence. This is my opinion based on the information that I've gathered, that he doesn't want to release those because he's not as against Donald Trump as it feels that he is, if that makes sense. That it sells books, that idea of being in at the White House, second only to maybe Maggie Haberman, having the most access, sold books, but he doesn't necessarily want to get Trump arrested and tried, because he will lose that access to that information. And it's guaranteed that if you have 100 hours of interviews with Jeffrey Epstein, you'll have information about Donald Trump, because that is the one thing he was willing to talk about openly, publicly, about their sale of Maison de l'Amitié, the one in Palm Beach. They thought of like everything, like the finances behind it, all the shady stuff. Epstein was always willing to talk about that. And those interviews are still missing. So anyway, I'm going to hop off because I think Lev at 8:00 has something big to say, which I don't know what it is. So I'm going to be watching. And I'm going to go crawl into my pajamas and eat apple slices. That's my dinner. But that I'm going to have an article tomorrow, which you have to think about with this article that I'm releasing tomorrow is it's kind of long. Like, I tried to summarize, I tried to shrink it up, but there's so much information from these emails. And the article that I wrote is based on 100 pages of those emails. There are 1,800 pages of emails with Michael Wolff. There are things that I have not discovered yet. There's inevitably more in there. There's emails during the Mueller, like the Russia investigation, where Jeffrey Epstein is trying to send things to Bill Barr. During the Mueller investigation, Bill Barr is determining whether Trump is guilty. And he's sending all this to Michael Wolff. And Michael Wolff is saying nothing about it publicly. He's just gathering information for future contracts, books, whatever. So I don't have anything personal against Michael Wolff, but this is I find it interesting that he continues to interview about the terrible person that is Jeffrey Epstein when they were as close as they were. He was invited to the island. I don't know if he went, but he was invited. I still have 1,700 pages of emails to go, so we will see. We will see if he went. But so far, don't know. Again, as with other people in this process and in this story, he is somebody who has enough information to at least make a very large dent in this case. I don't know if the information he has would solve this case. Probably not. But it would make a heck of a lot of change moving forward. And if he's waiting for someone to buy the interviews, which I don't even think he is, honestly, that's shady because it's the story of child abuse. Why I don't think anyone is going to buy the interviews is because I don't think at this point, now that all these emails have been released and the things have been said and he knows what's in there, I don't think he feels comfortable releasing the emails or releasing the interviews because he probably doesn't fully know what's in them because they're not transcribed that I know of. Maybe they are, but I doubt it. And he is now probably coming to terms with the closest of the relationship and how that would look publicly. So I don't think he's willing to make them public, but that's just my opinion. This is conjecture. Anyway, so I'm gonna hop off and go take some NyQuil and watch Lev's live. So if you guys would, for me, when Lev pops on at 8:00, hop on there and just see what he's got. Apparently it's pretty important. So thanks for hanging in there this week while I'm off the record or off something. I hope to feel better tomorrow and hang out with Waj and Zev. And my article will probably come out tomorrow. I don't know, maybe noon Eastern time. I don't know what time it's supposed to come out, but keep an eye out for it. And there will be more information, and there will be more information to come because I'm going to keep digging. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.